WrestleMania season is here, and I brought in two experts to help me give you guys the best bets for the weekend. Let's get to it here on Popcorn and Root Beer.
Grab your popcorn, dim the lights. It's movie time, we're taking flight. From the silver screen to your earbuds here, we're diving deep, so lend your ear. Action, drama, comedy, gold. Stories fresh and classics old. We'll break it down, scene by scene, from indie gems to Hollywood dreams. Roll the credits, let's begin. Talking movies, where do we fit in? Heroes, villains, twists and turns. The love for cinema always burns. Roll the credits, it's time to see what makes the movies magic for you and me.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see on either side of me, this is not Trash Sandwiches, nor is it Jake Perry. Instead, I'm joined by two men who need no introduction, but I'm going to have them do it anyway. Starting to the person on this side of me, Rod, tell the people about yourself.
Yes. Hey, I'm so happy to be on this show. You can actually find me on the Back Road with Seth and Elliot on a weekly or every other week basis. But yeah, I'm Rod Villagomez. I am co-host of the Back Road here on IBT, also the host of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast, and have been known once or twice to do a wrestling article or two should the right price hit its way. So yeah, love me some wrestling, love me some root beer. I've got my River City root beer and I've got my popcorn. I am ready for this show, Steve.
Ready to go. Never have we seen someone so prepared. On the other side of me, Jay.
I might as well leave because all I brought was a little bit of water. So I mean, that's all I've got with me.
I'm rocking Starbucks, so that's what I got.
That's basically the same thing. Coffee is water for me. You know, I've had at least 3 cups a day for probably, how many? My daughter is 9 years old, so for 9 years I've had at least 3 cups of coffee a day,
which is absolutely necessary. So, thank you, everyone who's tuning in here, our usual Popcorn and Root Beer watchers. And if you're new here and you're excited for wrestling, please like, subscribe, share, comment. Tell us how wonderful we are. Tell us how handsome my two new co-hosts are for this week. Whatever you want to do, we're happy to oblige. Guys, how psyched are you for WrestleMania? This is basically the wrestling fans' Super Bowl. Rod, you tuning in this weekend?
Oh, absolutely. Both days we're going to be tuning in and we're going to be making sure that we have our root beer and popcorn ready to go for it. But look, as you said, this is what it all builds up to. I mean, right after SummerSlam, you start the road to WrestleMania and you're just pumping it. Every pay-per-view is building that much closer. Every feud gets that much more intensified. And then, of course, we're the week before. So obviously we had the Raw before, and now we're going to have the SmackDown before the WrestleMania. And I mean, look, if you can't get pumped for that, I don't know if you're a wrestling fan.
Jay, what about you? You going 2 days?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll have to watch it a little delayed. My niece's 16th birthday party is Saturday, and it goes till about 8ish or so. So I'm gonna have to stay away from all internet sources until I get on. But yes, I will absolutely be watching both days. And I'm with you. I will say, there's been some talk of, the road to WrestleMania hasn't been as good as last year. And I think it's more of people trying to compare, that 2-year arc of Cody versus Roman to what it is now. It's just as good, and there's just as good as stories, but nothing's going to beat that climax that we came to at the end of last year until, it's going to be a few years before we get that good of a story.
Yeah, I will say, I feel like this year's road to WrestleMania, I think one thing that's happened in the Triple H regime has been a longer road to WrestleMania. I think historically it's always been after the Royal Rumble. We kind of were now the road to WrestleMania is begun. I think Rod's right. I think after SummerSlam is really when we start I think pay-per-views like Survivor Series are built into the road to WrestleMania. We're seeing storylines that do take place over a year, 6 months, 2 years. It's a much longer process. So this weekend, we get to see the culmination of all of those, though. We're going to dive into it now in our next segment, which is the forecast.
Will they break records?
As so many people are aware, this is normally where we predict box office futures and box office lines. However, tonight we are breaking down the best matches from WrestleMania coming up. I do want to say hello to some of our friends out in the IBT family. Dee Dee, how are you? Always nice to see you. Again, guys, thank you so much for being here. If you're a fan, like, subscribe, share, follow these two on Twitter or X or whatever you call it these days. They're a great follow. I've been following both of them for a while now. So let's dive into some of these matches here because they got bangers on repeat. Starting off with the Intercontinental Championship match, we are seeing Penta, Braun Breaker, Dominik Mysterio, and Finn Balor squaring off in a fatal four-way match. Again, it's for the Intercontinental Championship. Jay, who you got winning?
I'm gonna take a little stroll down narrative street here, like we like to say in our fantasy football world. I'm gonna go with Penta. I think that I really debated. I could honestly, this is one match that I really could see any of the guys winning. You can make a case for any of them, but since Penta's come over from AEW. Hunter's just strapped a rocket ship to his back, and he's proven that he is an absolute star. I think that they've been teasing the Finn breaking off from the Judgment Day it feels like since Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley left. So I think that we're going to go down a scenario where they're both going to cost each other. Dom and Finn are going to cost each other the win. And that's going to eventually lead to Finn finally breaking off. And it really, for me, it was a toss-up between Braun and Penta. And I think, speaking of a guy who has a rocket ship strapped to his back, Braun, I was actually at the Raw with my buddy Teddy Ricketson, that Braun killed a guy where he, where the jobber, where he slammed the, that's actually my header on my Twitter/X account. You can see me in the background, like he's about to throw it.
And saying Braun killed a guy though, that's like you just go when, like what time? Because like I show Speed, I thought he killed Speed in the Rumble. Like that is not a professional athlete. Like and that's not a professional athlete. Yeah, like that dude got hit. So I've never seen someone get hit that hard, and I've watched the NFL for a long time, and that was like, bro's gonna be Antonio Brown in 3 years. Like that's gonna be it's like, so you're going Penta. You're going Penta. Rod, are you rolling with Penta?
So the problem for me is that I may be in the minority. I'm not really a big Braun Breaker fan. Like outside of him just spearing everybody to death, like I don't know. To me, he doesn't give me that same warm fuzzy that I think a lot of people get out of him. But sure. I think, and really, ultimately, Penta, I see them giving guys the title, right? That almost immediately when they get in, and then they've got to prove why they got it. And I think this might be, right, like you said, one of those instances where he's so new that sure, we'll give him the title and we'll see how the fans react to it. And, because think about it this way, you give it to Dirty Dom, whatever, right? Nobody gives a rat's ass if Dirty Dom has it or not, right? You give it to Finn Balor, he's been a title holder before. You give it to Braun Breaker, it's the same type of thing, right? I mean, we've seen that. So now what do we got in Penta? Let's see. Let's give him the title, sort of an inconsequential title, if you will, right? In the grand scheme of things. Because when you put these four guys in a main event or in a title match, you're pretty much showing the crowd, all right, well, go ahead and grab your popcorn and root beer because we'll be right back after this. Because I don't know, this match may not be the most entertaining on the card. But really? I don't know. I'm not high on any of these four guys, right? Like if it's these guys, I'll get up and go somewhere else. Like Dominik Mysterio doesn't do it.
That's spicy. That's spicy.
Yeah.
I'm kind of the opposite. I feel like there's no wrong decision on this. Steve. Honestly, whoever they put it on, I'm happy with. I think of the four, the one want to see it on the least is Braun. Mm-hmm. I'll tell the people right now, Penta is going off at even money right now in terms of betting. I am going to take the chalk on this one. I'm going to go with Dom. I think Dom gets it, and I'm going to go with the narrative that it's going to lead to the breakup of Judgment Day. I think this is what's going to cause Finn to get ousted and cause a really great rivalry between those two to start. And I think we'll eventually get the return of the Demon Finn Balor, and that would be kind of like a great way to bring this all full circle. I hope Triple H doesn't make us wait a whole year till like next WrestleMania for that to kind of like pay off like maybe a SummerSlam Survivor Series like deal.
I can see a SummerSlam, especially SummerSlam being it's two nights this year. It's in New York. I feel like they're going to try to make it an even bigger SummerSlam than normal.
Yeah, it's got to be big, right? If you're gonna do the 2 nights, you gotta earn that. I think quite a bit. So I'm gonna take Dom. Rod, who are you putting your money down on?
Well, okay, I would probably put Penta only because of the odds, right? I mean, to me, like I can see it, like you said, going any of these 4 ways. So I'm gonna try to make a little something off of it. So Penta at even money, I'm gonna go ahead and hit that.
Yeah, Penta is at even money. Bron's at plus 250. Dom's at minus 175. Finn's going off at plus 500. So he is really not considered to be much of a factor in this match. Our next match that we're going to talk about is another multi-person match, Women's World Championship match. I like the 3 competitors. You got Bianca Belair going off at plus 200. Oh, I'm sorry, minus 110. Io Sky going off at minus 110. Rhea Ripley at plus 200. Rhea being the significant underdog compared to the other 2. Rod, we'll let you start this one. Who are you going with?
So it's funny because we've watched Rhea have the title, lose it for whatever reason, right? Be it injury, be it whatever. Her narrative over the last, I'd say 2 years or so is, I want to get this back, right? I need to get this back. So why do they keep taking it from her only to keep giving it back to her? And for Io, I mean, we've seen her obviously be champion and everything like that. Bianca's the only wild card in this one for me at this point, right? Because we know, obviously, they love to pump her storylines and she's been at the top of the mountain and everything like that. So do they put her back there? They gave her the tag team title. They gave her all this stuff. And she's sort of just been this, yeah, okay, she was good. So now I'm like, well, okay, do they give it back to her? Because we've seen Rhea now with the belt on and off, with the title on and off. And then we've seen Sky with the title on and off. So do they give it back to Bianca at this point, especially giving her the power, right? The referee power and all that stuff, and adding her in that way. So I don't know. I think this Rhea Ripley keep winning it back thing has played out. So maybe they give it to Bianca. Maybe they let Bianca have it for a while again.
Are either of you surprised that Bianca kind of got written essentially out of the Jade Cargill Naomi story, like altogether?
See, I think that there's going to be a little twist here. I think that's where I'm headed with my pick on this.
Oh, all right.
I think that
I do think would say that
Bianca's going to win, and I think they're going to give her a little heel run to make it interesting. And I think it's going to come out that she's been complicit all along with Naomi with the whole Jade thing, and have a little heel run with those 2. So that's my trip down narrative street on there. How they can, because this is another one too, not to sound cheesy, but. You really, this is another one that I don't think there's a wrong answer with who you put the belt on in this match. But I think that's the most interesting way to come out of this match out of WrestleMania, and the storyline that would somewhat surprise people.
Yeah, I think that would be a great storyline. I am going to say that while there is no wrong person to put the belt on, I think there is a right person to put the belt on. And in this case, it's keep the belt on. I don't think Bianca or Rhea need a title win right now. I do think Io, if she wins this match, beats 2 of essentially the top 2 women in the WWE in a match and gets a clean win, that elevates her to their level. And now you've got another megastar, right? I think that Io needs this win more than the other 2 need this win. I don't know what creative's going on behind the scenes. Maybe Bianca is the choice because they want to go with that eventually like transition to Jade Cargill being in the title picture. Who knows? But I'm going to put my money down on Io and say that right now she's the one that needs it more. And so I'm going to say that Triple H will make that decision, hopefully the correct decision, and keep the title right with Io.
I will add though too, because they have been kind of leaning into this I'm being ignored thing. I'm the champion and I'm being ignored, right? So maybe that is sort of giving us the okay, well, we can't ignore her anymore. And I do love the montage that they put up with Ripley shoving her face out of the way and Bianca shoving her outfit. And so it's like, yeah, she's definitely being ignored. So yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe they're building this up, to stop being ignored.
I think that would be a really great way. And we know Triple H is trying to build new stars, right? Like he's getting his people in there now. He's had enough time where we're seeing kind of how this roster is constructed under like a Hunter regime. And I've enjoyed it so far. All right, another triple threat match is on the docket. And that is Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins versus CM Punk. I'll start. I'll take this one. I'll begin. I have the OTC. I will acknowledge him right here, right now. I got Roman Reigns winning this one. I wrote on Twitter not too long ago. I said, here's my creative idea for Roman Reigns is that he wins it. Like, Heyman betrays him. Roman pulls it off anyway, goes ballistic, beats Punk and Rollins to like a bloody pulp, and goes on a rampage like we've never seen Roman Reigns go on before, where there's no direct target. It's just chaos, carnage. And he's no longer the tribal chief. He's just like this violent being. And I think that would be a really cool way to see Roman Reigns go. I think at this point, I don't know who needs this win more. I think there's an argument to be made that Seth Rollins needs this win more than any of the other guys need it. Jay, am I off in that thought?
I completely agree with you 100%. He's taken so many falls here recently. And I don't know if you picked up on did you guys were you able to watch Raw? Was it last night or
I was.
You see during the promo? I don't know if and I didn't catch this at the time, but saw it on Twitter. He dropped the best for business line, right?
Yeah.
Just like Cena did before he went with The Rock. So, there's been rumors of a third man with The Rock and Cena. And so I think that Hunter is going to reward Rollins. And I think that Heyman is going to turn on both of them, align himself with Rollins, and then, have their little new, corporation or whatever you want to call them now with The Rock, with Rollins, with Cena. And I think, I think 100% I agree with you that Rollins needs it the most, and he's really taken some pretty big falls here in these past, year basically. So I think that Hunter's going to reward him and put it, let him come out on top here.
Who would you have him pin?
Punk. I think Punk.
I think he has to, right?
Yeah,
I think
if you go with
the better of him a lot.
Punk's gotten
the better of Seth a lot lately. Rod, what do you got? Who do you think's winning this match?
I love the end of their brawl the other day where Rollins' hair was just like, it looked like the Shield. You know what I'm saying? It looked like the Shield Rollins, right? There wasn't lost on all of us
with that sweet leather vest that he came out in.
100%, right? I mean, they were just giving this to us. They were saying this flamboyant Seth Rollins that you've been cheering for.
Yeah, he's transitioning to a new. He's moving on again. Yeah,
and I think beating Punk, beating Roman would give us that trajectory again because I feel like that flashy guy, he's still there, but it's not necessarily played out. But you got to do something to freshen it up. And this is the way to do it, right? It's like the heel turn we'll be talking about later. That's the way to freshen things up, even on your way out.
Yeah. And Steve, I'm with you too about what you said about Roman. I think that's I hope that's the route they go because that's definitely going to be that would be really interesting. And he put a promo on Twitter. I don't know if you guys saw it or not, where he was talking about, and it was awesome. That was
good.
Like goosebumps. He's talking about, the wise man's the one who said that, I should learn to play politics and that I should have tightened my grip on this company. Yeah, I think I hope that's the way they're going because that will be, the next step. Because as great as the whole Bloodline story has been, that's the next evolution of it.
I think Roman Reigns, I know like it's hard to say he's underrated because he held the title for so long, but I think we don't appreciate how good he is on the mic nearly enough. Has he when's the last time he delivered a flat promo? It just doesn't happen anymore. Every time that man steps in the ring with a microphone, you're like, this is going to be must-watch TV. He's as good as Rollins on the mic at this point. He's as good as Punk on the mic at this point. He just does it in a different way where it's not yelling and screaming all the time. It's that real controlled, quiet, brooding intensity.
His pacing and timing too. It's just the way he did. Last night when he was, when Heyman was trying to hand him the mic and is he waiting on it and then just walk straight through him? I'm with you. I completely agree.
Yeah, it's it was just unbelievable. I love Roman Reigns. I will be perfectly honest. I love Roman Reigns. I am like such a fanboy for Roman Reigns. That music hits that like, and I just like I mark out. Like I'm absolutely there. Like I wish the entrance was longer. Like I just like
Well, I was just telling Steve, we were talking about that before the show started. I was like, well, you may get your wish because these things are getting longer and longer and longer as they go on, right?
Yeah, I love it. I'm all like, so I was saying to Rob before the show, is like, I'm all for the pomp and like the flashiness of the WWE right now.
That's what
like
it's all about, man.
Yeah, like matches to me, like I like a good match. It's cool, whatever. When you're live, like being there live, it's hard to describe like the feeling of an entrance, right? Like I've gone to a few shows and I've seen some like truly amazing, like iconic, like I've had Stone Cold come out at shows, The Rock. I've never seen a Roman Reigns entrance live, and I'm like, man, I might have to go to like a Raw or a SmackDown when it comes back to Boston if he's advertised, because like with the lasers and the lights and the giant Titantrons and all that stuff, WWE knows how to put on a show, right?
I got to do the yeet, and man, it was it was incredible. It was so much fun. That, and then in AEW, I was at Sting's last match, and when he came out with what's the song that he comes out with, Metallica song on his, I can't think of it, but it was incredible. And his two sons came out with him. It was goosebumps. It was the Rock.
Yeah. There's really nothing like being at a WWE show. Even if you're not a WWE fan, I would tell everyone, go once, try it out, because
somebody's phone ringing.
Is someone's phone ringing, or am I having a stroke? I'm glad someone else is hearing it.
Oh,
I didn't hear anything.
It was an entrance.
It was an entrance. Like being at a WWE show is really cool because everyone's kind of there for the same reason, right? It's like one of the few places in the world where there's no ops, right? Like when you go to a sporting event, it's one team versus the other and the fans can get into it. Everyone there, like someone will just kind of go, woo, and like 20,000 people just start wooing back at them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's a very great camaraderie thing. And then it's very flashy and very fun. And next thing you know, 3 hours have gone by and you're just like, all right, that was just amazing. So
one of my favorite shows that I went to was a house show. And so we were sitting right by the entrance, and so we got to everyone come by, walk by us. We got everybody. And so Alberto Del Rio was walking down, and my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, she was sitting right next to me, and he stops and he looks right at her and he grabs her hand. And I'm like bowing up against Alberto Del Rio, like, get off my woman, right? Now, granted, I didn't do anything about it, and I would have sunk back in the chair had he bowed up back at me. But it was, I mean, that's what the kind of stuff
part of it, right?
Yeah,
right. He expected you to do exactly that, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's the heel. He needs you to react.
Mm-hmm.
It's absolutely amazing. Like and some of these guys, when you get up close to them, they are massive human beings. Like some of these guys are like monstrous human beings. It's kind of crazy. All right, so I'm going to give you guys the odds. Roman's going off at plus 200. Rollins is going off at plus 200. Punk's going off at minus 300. He is the current betting favorite to win this match. I don't think I would love that too much, but I think
see what he gets out of it. I mean, him, I just don't see it. He beat Seth. He beat Drew.
Point, yeah. I don't think he needs it at this point. I don't think Punk at this point is the guy you want winning these matches anymore. Right. He's just a little like it's been a long time, right? Like, is he still important to the company? Sure. Is he still a draw? Absolutely. But is he like your world champion? No. Right? Like you're not putting the title on him. Speaking of championships, we have 3 that we're going to predict right here. All one-on-one matches. We'll start with the World Heavyweight Championship. Gunther versus Jey Uso. Jey Uso is a heavy favorite, going off at minus 600 to win the title over Gunther, who is at plus 350. Are you a Gunther or a Gunther guy, Rod?
I am a Gunther because my wife is of German heritage, so I can't Gunther it, right? I got to Gunther it.
Gunther.
I mean, I know he's not German, but like the that type of pronunciation on it, you can't Gunther it.
Yeah, no, it's you probably shouldn't Gunther it, right?
No.
Who do you got winning? Who you betting on?
It's crazy. There's no way you're laying minus 600 on Jey Uso. There's absolutely no way you're laying that much juice. And to me, when you have a guy like Gunther, and he's been the champion, he's held a title for the longest ever, right? The longest reigning Intercontinental champion ever. Why why do you take the title away from him now, right? You give him the world championship, you build it up to where he's like, okay, finally vacates the title. Now he's got the world heavyweight title. Why do you take it away from him so quickly, right? I mean, but at the same time,
tough.
it's Uso pops, right? Uso pops everybody.
He does. I think you've written yourself into because Uso got so over so fast. I think WWE finds themselves in a very weird place. I agree. I don't think Jey Uso should be the one to dethrone him yet. But the problem is, if he loses now, you might as well just write him out of the world title picture for the rest of time because it's over, right? Like you've said to the fans, hey, listen, he's not the guy. I think that's why he's going off at -600. Like if he loses, 4 times in a row to the same guy, he'll never be a credible champion.
Yep.
Like, because it's like, even if he wins the 5th time, it's like, well, then you just kept giving him shot after shot after shot after shot after shot. And eventually it was just going to be like odds ever in his favor. -600, I'm not laying any money down on that. I don't like that. Like, no way am I going off on that. I do think Jey Uso is going to walk out of here world heavyweight champion, though. Jay, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to have to give that one a big old yeet because I'm with you. I think it's going to be Jey Uso. Although, it would be an interesting story if, I could see a world where they try to rekindle and redo the whole Jimmy versus Jay feud where Jimmy comes out and screws him out of the title again out of jealousy. But I'm with you. He's been too close to the title too many times. If they don't, he's never, like you said, everything you said, Steve, I agree with. If they're not going to put it on him now, they might as well just, put him back in a tag team picture, and that's about it.
Right. That's how I feel. Craig says WWE does have a history of ignoring people that get over on their own, but that is a Vince kind of history, not a Triple H history. However, Rod and I were talking before the show. Triple H does have a little bit of that in him. We're looking at you, Shinsuke Nakamura and LA Knight.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. Good job, guys. Yeah, I think he dropped the ball with Nakamura really bad. Fumbled it as bad as anyone's fumbled, kind of an attraction. Yeah. And then LA Knight, I was saying to Rod before the show, that moment where he cut Roman off in his entrance, right in the middle of his entrance, just beeline past him, didn't look at him, didn't acknowledge the tribal chief. Wasn't that the moment that you'd go, here we go, like we're going forward with LA? Why would you have him do that otherwise? Why have him do that and not capitalize on that?
Yeah, that was the opportunity to really have him. I don't think he was ever going to be a WrestleMania main eventer, but that have him a regular in the heavyweight title picture. Yeah, and it feels like he's just going to be a high end, not necessarily a mid carder, but I don't know if they'll ever put either world title on him. I think he's going to be Intercontinental U.S. Championship, and that's pretty much. I think it's what we're going to see. And he's still over, but he's nowhere near as over as he was at that moment in time.
Yeah. He needs because the draft happens usually after WrestleMania, correct?
Yeah.
He needs to go to Raw. That's what needs to happen with LA Knight. He needs to go into the world title picture. That's what needs to happen. I think he'd be a great first opponent for Jay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, actually that'd be a good one. Yeah.
That'd be first off.
Guys. Yeah.
The crowd would go crazy. The crowd
would
never stop
They wouldn't know who to support.
Yeah, that'd be like Hunter. If you're watching this, Triple H, I am available for hire. I will write any storyline you want, but please, come on, help a guy out, help a writer out.
Could you imagine all the yeeting and yang in that whole thing? Yeeting and yang.
Yeah.
Well, and then I think you put Bron in that mix too with those three.
Ooh. I think there's a lot of. We need someone though to establish the world heavyweight title as an equal footing. I think Rollins was doing a good job of it.
Yes.
I think. It's hard. It's bad to say. I do think Cody's lowered the value of the WWE title a bit compared to what Roman had it at. I don't think it's quite like the number one thing. I think
that's naturally going to happen based off of the reign, no pun intended, that Roman had, breaking the records and stuff like that. And he was, the big bad for so long. So I can definitely see that.
But until we see a John Cena go after the world heavyweight title, that's always going to feel like the secondary championship because it was for a little while, right? Or the WWE championship was that for a long time, right? Like the world heavyweight title, Triple H had it. Triple H, it was always Triple H, Shawn Michaels, this, that. They started to put the WWE championship on better and better guys. And then we saw them unify it. And then that's kind of what happened. I think we need to see like a John Cena get the World Heavyweight title. We'll get to John Cena in just a minute, but on to the next championship match. We got Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair for the women's championship, both going off at -120. Jay, what do you got?
This one was probably the toughest out of any of them to pick because I could really see them going either way. And one carryover from the Vince regime is how much they love Charlotte Flair and, wanting to get her to break her dad's record. I've got this feeling that they're gonna go that route and put it right back on Charlotte Flair. I'm not saying that I want them to. I
don't get Charlotte Flair. I'm sorry.
I'm with you. I'm
I don't get
100%. But they love her. And
is she the most boring, like super mega star of all time?
It's like the only people that think she's a megastar is the people that matter in WWE, and that's it.
I guess so.
Have you ever met anybody that was a Charlotte Flair fan?
No. They brought her back thinking everyone was going to like lose their minds and be so happy Charlotte's back. People couldn't have cared less.
No.
Crickets.
Tiffany should win, but I think it's going to be Charlotte.
Build more stars. Please don't let Charlotte Flair win. I am going to roll and trust the process and say Tiffany's going to win. Rod, who you got winning?
It's Tiffany time, baby. Like, honestly, the women's roster is so stacked right now, right? I mean, there are so many talented female wrestlers right now in the sport that you don't need Charlotte Flair to hold the title. You don't need her to be the women's champion. You have great people that are out there, and as I guess polarizing as Tiffy is, she's one of them, right? She's a big personality. She's got big moves. She's got she talks big, right? She had her whole thing with Nia Jax back then, her little Money in the Bank princess type thing. So I mean, she's earned it over the last few. Whereas you just bring Charlotte Flair back and put the title on her. What do you think about the whole division as a whole, right?
Right. So Craig says there's no way it should be Charlotte after the mess she has created since she came back. And I think he's referring to the promos that she's been cutting where she's been, and Charlotte Flair has a history of this. Let's not forget, she got into a full-on duke it out brawl in the middle of the ring, right? She's done this with Becky Lynch throwing the title on the ground, right? Charlotte Flair goes into business for herself a lot. I think she is big enough to the WWE that she can get away with it. The problem is Tiffany got into it with her, right? Let her emotions get the better of her. And that was very unscripted. It was like almost immediately they came out and were like, that was not supposed to happen. Do you think they punished Tiffany because she got a little, big for her britches?
That's a big punishment. That's more than just a timeout. That's essentially grounding.
I don't know if this was Vince. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. You're right. Go for it.
I'd say if this was Vince, I would say 100%. I'm not saying that it won't, but I feel like Triple H is a lot more likely to stay tempered in a situation.
He may even like it. He may even like it because it became a viral moment. And I think Triple H, for whatever flaws he has, and I think there are plenty of flaws that Triple H has in his booking, mainly his reliance on celebrities. I do think he's much more lenient with that kind of stuff. But now we are getting to what I think is the most consequential match in WWE for the next year. I think this match is going to set the tone for what is going to happen until next WrestleMania, essentially. And that is John Cena versus Cody Rhodes for the undisputed WWE Championship. Cena's going off at -200, Cody at +150. Rod, who do you think is going to win this match?
The fans.
The fans are going to win.
Honestly, this is a tough one to me because
it is.
There's as a betting person, like, you don't want to lay -200 on John Cena when you know this is his farewell tour, right? So almost why do you put the title on him as he's on his way out? To break the record, sure, right? To do all of the things that you need to check all the boxes and John Cena's storied career, right? Plus he's got a heel turn in there too now. So you put that in there, right?
Can we just stop for 1 second? Just at that heel turn. I want your guys' opinion because I have an opinion. Is Cena's heel turn the greatest heel turn of all time? I
There's
will
been a
say
lot.
in the moment, for me, in the moment, it was the most unexpected heel turn I've ever seen. I did not see it coming. I was stunned. Now, when Hogan turned heel, I was not watching at the time.
Same.
I wasn't old
That
enough
was-
to remember it. But I watched it back, and is it Tony Schiavone who was the
Tony Schiavone.
Yeah, Schiavone was the announcer for WCW.
Yeah.
Stupidly, and he didn't know. He's come out and said, like, I had no idea, but he went, "Oh, is Hogan the third man in the NWO?"
That was actually Bobby Heenan is the one who said.
Oh, was it? Was it Bobby?
Yeah,
but
yeah, he
dumb.
said, "Oh, is he the third man?" Yeah, and it's like
I would have lost my mind if I was in creative backs. Wouldn't you have like absolutely lost your shit at that moment? Been like,
100%.
why would you say that? What
Yeah.
was the best case scenario at that?
Yep. Yeah. No, I'm with you, and I think it depends how you're looking at it. I'm with you. I think
Craig's going with Hogan.
I was like kind of watching wrestling then. I really got into it after that, after the formation of the NWO. I definitely think that the Hogan turn was a bigger impact on the industry as a whole, especially where they were at in their careers. You know, Cena's is only going to last for so long. But I'm with you. For me, actively watching, that was like, and that's why we watch those moments. That's like
in a farewell tour, in
Yep.
John Cena's farewell tour, they finally turned him heel. That was insane. But
Yep.
Rod, you watched Hogan coming up.
So this
you
is
have good perspective on this.
Yeah, and so I was telling you about that too before the show. You know, I was always Hulk Hogan, watching Hulk Hogan on cartoons. It was, you know, Hulk Hogan, Hulkamania, right? That was my childhood, right? And the dolls and everything, right? So Hulkamania was huge, and every kid identified with Hulk. And I was probably like, I don't know, 10, 11 at that point, right? And when he turned heel, you imagine how many kids' hearts were broken because we were brought up on, you know, eat your vegetables, be a good American, Hulkamania. And that was like,
take your vitamins.
That was our role model. You know what I'm saying? Like we all bled yellow and red. And all of a sudden he turns heel and you don't know what to do. My whole world was a lie. And so that to me, that was why it was more impactful. But I'm sure that's how kids feel when they watch Cena, right? With the whole,
that poor kid that was at that
That's
Raw.
exactly where I was about to
that kid like had to eat it. Like, and Cena's always so good at this, right? Like even playing a heel, he knows how to create moments for like kids to remember. Because I think at the end of the day, John Cena is just like a good guy. I've met him. I got to meet him a few times.
Oh, that's awesome.
When he was less of a big star. We kept trying to take a picture with him. It was at like a house show and the camera just wasn't working. He came by like 4 times. On the 4th time he came by, he go like stopped and went, "Hey, did the picture come out?" And we were like, "It didn't." He's like, "Give me a second." Found someone who had like one of those pictures that developed it immediately, like one of the cameras that like printed it out. Yeah. He's like, he's like, "Hey, can I borrow this?" Grabbed the guy's camera. We snapped the picture and he signed it and was like, he waited there, like shaking it out and then signed it and gave it to me. I still have the picture. So I'm like, super excited. I was like, yeah. So I've always been a Cena guy. But I do think this was like the coolest heel turn ever. I was really excited about it. I think Cena's going to win. I think they got to put the 17th on him. I think he's earned it.
I mean, they kept giving storyline Taker the streak, right? I mean, until it was, you know, all the way over. So
that should have never ended. Hot take. That should have never ended.
Not a hot take. It's the right take.
Yeah, like they should have rolled under. If I was the WWE, I would have said to the Undertaker, "You are never retiring. You will roll out every WrestleMania until you die. You'll come out here. You'll choke slam someone." 1, 2, 3, and it's over. Because I've seen a lot of people say, like, "Oh, the road to WrestleMania is kind of dull. The road to WrestleMania." I'm like, is there a void that the Undertaker has left in the road to WrestleMania?
100%.
That you just 100%. Know the gong's not going to go off at any point. Like right now, Randy Orton's going, "I need a match." 10 years ago, we know what that match would have been, right? That gong was hitting, the lights were going out, and Taker was showing up.
Do you guys think it's going to be Nick Aldis?
I do.
I hope so.
I do. I think it's time to get him back in the ring. Or I don't want it to be Aleister Black. I don't want it to be Aleister Black either. Because I don't want Randy to lose. Randy needs to win because Randy needs to go to the WWE title against Cena next. I think that's what needs to happen next and get Randy on the path to 18. I think we need to see bald Randy Orton come back and be an absolute lunatic. And I think he needs to like kick Nick Aldis' head clean off his shoulders. And we just need to go full heel Randy Orton on that. Rod, what do you think?
Oh, I'm good with that. Fun fact too, I actually interviewed Randy Orton a while back in the day. It was Randy Orton and Christian. They were coming to a house show in my city, and I was working radio at the time. And my boss came up to me, he goes, "Hey, you watch a little bit of wrestling, don't you?" And I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Hey, we've got Randy Orton and Christian. We need you to interview them in 5 minutes." And I was like,
I would have thrown up. I love Randy Orton.
"Oh, he's the coolest dude in the world."
He is the coolest dude in the world. And sometimes on the show, we talk about how attractive actors are. And I am a fan of men. So I will say there was a moment in time where Randy Orton was literally the hottest man on the planet. Like, where he was the pinnacle. Like, think of like 2009 Randy Orton, like peak evil Randy Orton. That dude was like, if someone said, what does like a good physique look like? You'd be like, Randy Orton.
Yeah.
Like peak physical appearance, Randy Orton. Do you guys think The Rock appears at Mania? John wants to know.
I do.
I think he has to.
Yeah.
I think he has to. I think he costs Cody. I think he costs Cody.
I
think we're going to get something similar to WrestleMania 40.
Yeah.
Because I've heard...
Without all the Mama Road stuff, right? Without all the
Mama Road. I think what we're going to get is like that last 5 minutes thing.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard rumblings that Stone Cold Steve Austin will be in attendance.
Let's go.
Do we get a glass shatter for him to try to save Cody?
I sure hope so. I think I might be the odd man out here, but I think they keep it on Cody. I've really I've went back and forth with this, but I think kind of like what we've talked about with a few times earlier. I know, like you said, the record and stuff like that, but Cena doesn't know this. Cena will do what's best for business. The line that we've said a few times, and to get Cody Rhodes, you're right. I like Cody Rhodes. I'm glad that he's the champion. I think they've done a great job with the stories since he's came back, but he's still not out that upper echelon. That near Hall of Famer status, and what better way to do that than after defeating Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, then preventing John Cena from breaking the record. Like it's truly a coin toss, but I think if I had to put some money on it, I would go with the underdog and go with Cody Rhodes.
Yep, I'm a crybaby as well.
All right, well, those are our picks for the matches. We're going to dive into a Mount Rushmore segment now, and we're going to give you each of our top 4 WrestleMania moments right after this.
Mountains in the west, the stories will last, the present and past.
Yes, it is our best WrestleMania moments, our Mount Rushmore of them. Now, the way we do this is each of us will go and give our 4. And we'll break it down after each person gives their 4. So, Jay, would you like to start us off with your 4 best WrestleMania moments?
Absolutely. And we were in our little Twitter /XDM. We were talking about it. Glad I clarified, because I was going to go with the best, quote unquote,
right,
what most people think. But this is a little bit more of a personal one. So I will start here. I was big into my wrestling fandom started around, and actually what got me into it was WCW versus NWO World Tour for the N64. I started playing that game, and then that's when I jumped in. So that was right after, I missed the whole, like Rod said, every kid in America knew who Hulk Hogan was and watched a little bit of wrestling, Ultimate Warrior, Macho Man, all those guys. Right. But really getting into it was right around that time. And I watched it through right before the PG era. And then I have a big blank spot from the PG era, around that time. So I knew Cena, I knew Orton, stuff like that. But I wasn't into it as I was until about the Bloodline storyline. And that's when I really got back into it. Where I'm going at with all this is I would still tune into WrestleManias. And anybody who grew up in the Attitude Era loved the Hardy Boys. They are actually from the next town over. My parents owned a restaurant for 20 years. Them and their dad used to come and eat at the restaurant all the time. I actually went to the pumpkin patch with my family in October, and Matt Hardy was there with his wife and kids. And I didn't go up to talk to him. I was like, I know he's probably, doesn't get as much time like that. So I didn't want to bother him, but huge Hardy Boys fan. And their return at WrestleMania 33, like I just,
So
that
cool.
pop, I had no clue that was even possible. And then just to hear the do, 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 and Jeff coming out and just, I'm getting goosebumps now because it was like, I hope I'll know something. Like I knew of the New Day and I like the New Day, but like, the Hardy Boys for just that was my my wrestling fandom growing up, and to see them come back then, that was one of the moments. It's the first one that popped in my mind. You know what? I will stick with the Hardy Boys and go with the TLC match number 2 in WrestleMania 17 with them, the Dudleys, and Edge and Christian. I mean, what is there to say about a TLC match? I mean, they revolutionized the industry with those matches, and it was just that's what. If I was going to talk to him, it was funny where the pumpkin patch is actually across the street from where my best friend growing up was, and if I went up to talk to him, I was like, I literally watched the TLC match in that house, sitting right over there with my best friend. So yeah, those are just, I mean, anybody who watched those knows the impact that those had. For the other two, I am going to go, one of them is a newer match. And I really, it was a toss up between Cody Roman, WrestleMania 39 and 40. And I decided to go with 39 only because they really pulled the perfect swerve off of everybody thought Cody was going to win.
Yeah.
And then we were all worried that what happened with LA Knight was going to happen to Cody. He had all the momentum and then he doesn't win. And then was that the wrong call? And then it really led to, I mean, I feel like this from WrestleMania 39 to 40 was like where wrestling really came back into the mainstream picture. It was already headed there, but that's really, led to the Final Boss stuff and just everything that really has pushed it back into the public eye, like it was in the Attitude Era and the Monday Night Wars. Excuse me. So that's why I'm going to go with WrestleMania 39, Cody Roman 1, and then probably my first like WrestleMania that I really was fully invested. Like I was a huge Stone Cold guy, just like everybody else. Shawn Michaels, Stone Cold, WrestleMania 14 with Mike Tyson as a special guest referee.
Yeah.
Turning on Shawn Michaels. I mean, that is just like when I think WrestleMania growing up, that's the match that pops into my mind. That
was a great match. And is that the match that Shawn came in on the zip line?
I think so. I can't remember exactly. It's all kind of blurry.
Shawn Michaels, Mr. WrestleMania. Like, you can't go wrong. You could pick 4 Shawn Michaels things, be like, those are my 4 WrestleMania moments, and you'd be like, yeah, all right. I love that. Those were great picks. I love everything about that. Fun fact, do you know Jeff Hardy's never won a TLC match?
Wow. Did not know that.
Ever. Look we made Jake choke because...
Yeah, we did. Got him all choked up.
He's talking about that. Talk about my guy, Jeff Hardy. Yeah, because the Edge and Christian won the first one, right? And I think the Dudleys won the second one.
Yeah, and then he's like 0-9 or something crazy like that in TLC matches. They stick the guy in the matches, he's unbelievable, and he loses.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Shawn Michaels' record at WrestleMania. It's like really abysmal. If you look at like Shawn Michaels' record at WrestleMania. I'll take the next. I'll do the next 4, and we'll let Rod round us out. So for me, I started mine at. I had debated going with Rock Hogan, but I just thought Rock Austin at 19 or at 18, I think, was just a little bit more impactful, where it was just the 2 biggest stars in the world squaring off. And it was like, you didn't know who was going to win. The buildup was unbelievable, and it paid off in such an amazing way that you were just like, this is what pro wrestling is about, right? Like it wasn't this like crazy technical thing. It wasn't a TLC. It was just a regular one-on-one match between 2 mega stars. And it caught my attention, probably what got me started on my path into being a fan.
That's the one between that and the Stone Cold and Shawn Michaels. Those were I could have just as easily picked that match. So I was right there with you.
Yeah. WrestleMania moment for me that kind of an interesting one. Undertaker's going to take a back-to-back spot for me here. First was his match with Shawn Michaels where he retired Shawn Michaels. Especially that final moment, that jumping tombstone that ended up ending Shawn Michaels' career in storyline, right? Not that he like injured him or anything like that, but it was just an unbelievable match. Two WrestleManias in a row, unbelievable, just so good. But the one that I associate with The Undertaker the most is that entrance that we kind of have pictured here on the screen when he comes out and it's all like the souls reaching up at him. And just, to me, that was such The Undertaker, right? Like, it was this moment that, like, I understand that The Undertaker is just Mark Calloway. He's just some guy, right? Like, I get it. But for every fan, for every person who's ever known of The Undertaker, when the lights cut, the gong hits, the place goes crazy, the fire starts coming up, there's smoke, the purple lights, you truly believe that that is The Undertaker, right? Like, he is not a guy. He is a being. He has transcended this plane of existence. He's the dead man. He's risen. And it just was so perfect. I was like, whoever designed this entrance right now should be paid all the money in the world. I think that should be their number one paid employee. And then my final WrestleMania moment, I did go with WrestleMania 40, and it was that final 5 minutes.
Absolutely.
Roman, and it just kept happening, and it was one after the other after the other. You know, Seth using the Shield entrance music, and then, you know, here comes Cena, here comes Rock, here comes Solo, and then here comes Taker, and you're just like, what in the world is happening? It was so cool, and to me, that was
perfect.
It was perfect. It was the single greatest WrestleMania moment in history to me. Rod, what are your for?
So that 40 had to be, right? Because that was the build up to everything. They were just touting that this was going to be the greatest WrestleMania you've ever seen. And if they didn't come through with something like that, then we would have all left pissed off. So, yeah. All right. So my 4 begins when I first remember. And obviously I'm old enough to remember watching the very first WrestleMania. And I remember that Hulk Hogan versus Roddy Piper. And for me, these are more of what evoked my emotions because, you know, as a kid watching wrestling, 8, 9 years old, right? That was the prime demographic back then. And you had the Roddy Pipers of the world. And of course, my name's Rod. They used to call me Roddy as a kid. I mean, if you don't get behind Hot Rod when your name is Rod, then I don't know that there's anything in the world. So I was torn, right? You got your man Hulk Hogan, and then you've got Roddy, who you identify with. That match for me, like I think I just won watching it. You know, it was just
right.
Fun matches that I loved watching. So definitely Hulk Hogan, Roddy Piper right off the bat, and then Macho Man winning the title in WrestleMania 4. Right? I mean, look, he had Elizabeth on his shoulder. He was excited. It was the first one, right? I mean, that was the whole storyline leading up to that. Everybody was happy that Macho Man won that title. So I remember being one of those guys, one of those marks. I was like, I'm so happy that you won the title, Macho Man. And, you know, Macho Man was such a big part of wrestling in your life, almost as much as Hulk Hogan. So, yeah, that was definitely a huge one. And then I remember when Yokozuna came on the scene and just this massive, huge, and nobody could get him. Nobody could beat him. And they threw Hulk at him a couple times. And obviously, you know, that couldn't get past him. And then finally, in WrestleMania 3, that Hulk Yokozuna match, that whole buildup, right? That was one of the biggest. I remember because that was it, man. That was what everybody was talking about. Man, you see this Yokozuna guy, Hulk can't even beat him. This is crazy, right? And so, yeah, that match was huge for me, and I remember that growing up. And then the last one, because I'm a huge Undertaker fan. I have been since the beginning. You talk about his entrance, but his persona. Steve, when you watch wrestling back then, it was all Sergeant Slaughter's, it was all this, that, and then all of a sudden this guy comes in and he just dead looking, right? No expression, no nothing. He gets in the ring, he kicks your ass, and then he leaves. Like, you know, you're mesmerized by that. And I loved it. So then at 33, right after him and Roman, and and the gloves and the hat, and it's just right there. The camera stays on that, and you're just like, oh shit, this might be done. Like we might have seen this. This is it, right? It hits you that moment right there. That was the moment, because as an Undertaker fan, you're like, I don't even know what to think. Like they could bring him back, they could not, but we might be in for it. This might be it.
Yeah, Taker's that interesting character where he was an attraction so much more than he was anything else. You know what I mean? Like you hoped, like you never knew if he was going to show up or not, but you hoped he did at every show you were at, and there was always a chance. There was always like a small chance that like he'd show up, and it's amazing when he does. But speaking of amazing, you guys were absolutely amazing, jumping in, helping me with this show, getting us ready for WrestleMania, getting the people ready to make some money on WrestleMania. Again, to all our fans out there, thank you so much for being with us tonight. We've reached the sad point in the show where we have to say goodbye. So please like, subscribe, share, comment. Tell us your favorite WrestleMania moments. Tell us your Mount Rushmore of moments, entrances, superstars. Who's the best of all time? Do you think Cena should go for 17 or not? You got to let us know. Rod, Jay, thank you so much for being here. Everyone should go follow you on Twitter. Until next time, my name is Steve. Y'all stay safe. Be you.